So week 13 upon us, and this is our last week of our overlap of our added item, and then we'll move into only having a couple more JS challenges and one more JavaScript, the weird parts. So this got me thinking about a couple things about this JavaScript, the weird parts, and I have it open over here, but let me go ahead and open up the item so we can just, nothing new as far as what we're going to do this week. Sorry, week 13. You're going to do from 46 to 52, and I looked at the content to review this, right? This is the third block of lectures. Oh, yeah. So actually it's a fourth block. So that's in there and we'll take a look at it in a second. One thing I added, and I know somebody's going to ask, so let me just say it. First, there's no requirement for the second part. But for those of you, and I think most of you, I think there was only one of you that thought you wouldn't use some kind of authentication. For those of you that are thinking you would, I thought I'd kind of continue in a sense that setup that the video showed last time for Firebase authentication. Sorry. With Chris. Chris, I keep starting the video. Chris Esplin from, actually he's from several different places. Right now he just got hired at Pluralsight. But if you were at DevFest, you would have actually had a chance to see. He ran 2 sessions. Matter of fact, I think 3. I only got to sit in 2, talking about where some of the new features that Firebase added. So I definitely suggest you check this out. But I don't have anything as far as required. I'm not going to add it to the points. And it's pretty short. It's like 8 minutes. And I think it's just worth thinking about here if you're going to continue that concept. So that's there, FYI. So on JavaScript, the weird parts, when we look at 46, it gets into the idea that's really important to understand, and that's closure, and gives the classic example of closure that if you've looked out on the internet, and then talks about function factories. And then this one, actually, this is the one I was just reviewing because I want to review the rest of these because I reviewed the top ones, but closures and callbacks, because it's just, you use it and you probably don't think about it, especially if you're using set timeout. And this is really good to do because now that we're moving into the develop part, right, we had in the coffee run an example of the bind, right, so using bind and why we had to use bind. Right, so this is a great time to bring this topic back around. So I like kind of how this overlaps, and then ending with 2 functional programming examples is really good because we see some of this in the coffee run. So this is good. These last lectures are good. So now that's what we have for this week. I will tell you, I thought I'd do a little poking around here. If you haven't noticed, and I looked at the Q&A for this course, and I'm noticing something a little disturbing is that Tony Alisea is not answering questions here, which is kind of interesting, and it made me want to poke around a little more and wonder why. So let me go back and show you. Let me see if I can get back to the screen that I was on prior to this. Go to the dashboard. So on the dashboard, when you look at the Q&A, you can see that there is kind of a, some not so good comments, but there's no responses. And when you look at from the most recent, but there is one, I think over here I saw, it's like, here's the most recent instructor announcements, and this was 2 years ago. I'm like, wow. So, he's obviously moved on to other things, and this course is not necessarily his, what he's keeping, because he's moved on to other things. But obviously, too, when you look at the amount, I don't think it's here, but it's somewhere we could go find how many students have taken this course. So there's a huge amount of students that have taken this course, but also I'm considering whether I'm going to use this particular course again, and that's something I will ask you to include in this case, because there are some other really good resources out there that because I won't be teaching this, by the way, again until a year from this semester, because next semester I'll be teaching Node and then coming back around to teaching this, which sounds like forever for most of you, and including me, in the fall 18 semester. So it's just been interesting to kind of think about this in terms, because I think there's really been, I can speak for me, is that when I went through this course, it really helped me understand JavaScript and the architecture of JavaScript and what happens underneath the covers. And I've definitely talked to developers who say there are many developers out there that still don't understand some of these things that are covered in JavaScript, the weird parts. But I'm also wondering if, because it's not being updated, I'd want to use it again. So here's what I want to end with on this note, is that in your notes, and I don't have it here, but I want you to do this in your notes mynotes.md in your root folder. Put a heading in there. And would you recommend, I want you to answer this question, would you recommend me use this JavaScript, the weird parts, in a future class? Do you feel like it's really helped you extend your knowledge of JavaScript, or would you rather see me do something else? Because there are definitely, every time I teach this, because I'm trying to bring it more and more up to relevancy with what's really happening, I definitely am going to be looking at ways to do that. So your feedback is always helpful in helping bring this up. Okay? All right, so that's your JavaScript, the weird parts. So now my job is to go look at the last code up that we have. Ajax, I believe, is what our last code up will be on. All right, have a good one. Talk to you later.